Going to the Fitzroy annual general meeting shortly, what's your expectation about the night ahead?
Well, I don't think we're going to hear anything dramatic in terms of mergers tonight. I think Dyson Hall-Lacey is probably going to say to the members that the club is capable of carrying on in the short term. But really, it's probably a chance for him just to test the waters with the supporters in terms of feeling out Brisbane on a merger. And I think if he can get some sort of sympathetic show from the members, it'll be full steam ahead.
Any idea why Brisbane is so much the flavour of the month now, when Hall-Lacey had said that really that would be his last option?
It's interesting, isn't it? I just feel that it would probably be an easier merger to push through than one with the Melbourne club, which would involve a fair bit of trauma for both clubs associated with it. I think Brisbane being a relatively new entity, there's probably more potential there to get it happening painlessly, really.
It's like the birds of prey picking at the carcass, really, isn't it?
And the carcass isn't giving much of a yelp on the field, V, is it? It's
well, no,
in real strife.
The on-field stuff for Fitzroy, I mean, the first couple of games they were competitive, and then sort of when that little bit of hope goes, as seems to have happened very early in the season, the last couple of weeks have been very poor.
Seems to have gone earlier this year than last, when at least they won a couple of games a third of the way into the year and gave some hope.
So Bernie Quinlan's coaching stocks may have increased enormously.
Yeah, well, they had you on the road from
weeks.
Collingwood third of the way into the season, didn't they? And looked like inflicting a rather embarrassing defeat upon you.
Who's that? Oh, Fitzroy,
yeah.
Yes, middle of the year last year. That's correct. No, I was thinking about this time last year, Collingwood was still 0-5 or half, 4.5 with one draw, but yes, no, I think the Fitzroy situation on the field, I mean, it's hard to think of any optimism about where they're going on the field. Forget about the survival of the club, that's a separate issue.
I think it's interesting that early in the season, I mean, they probably should have beaten Hawthorn almost in the first game, and Mick Noonan was rightly very disappointed that they didn't. Last week they got thrashed by St Kilda and he paid out on them basically, but I noticed that yesterday, even though they were beaten by more, over 100 points, he was far less critical of the players, and it almost makes you wonder whether he's had a rethink about just how he should be treating the players. But they're in a terrible spot, and they really needed some on-field respectability to give the off-field stuff a boost, and it just hasn't happened.
Well, I don't think there'll be any major news to hand as yet. The AGM was due to get underway at the Fitzroy Town Hall roundabout now. We have a camera crew. Rob Gaylard there, Andrew Marr doing some legwork for him. So let's go to Rob and see if there's any early prediction from outside the Town Hall. Rob, good evening.
Yes, good evening, Tim. No predictions as yet. As you can probably see behind me at the moment, there's probably still about 200 people to try and get into the hall. It's jam-packed at the moment. There was about 1,200 people in there when I stuck my nose in about 15 minutes ago. It's very interesting at the moment. Any profit and loss sheets have been kept right away from the media. Unless you're a fully paid-up member, that's the only way you're going to be able to get a look at things, although I do believe, as it's common knowledge, I think virtually, Tim, and to all the panel back there, that the operating loss is about over $2.3 million. I've got a one-eyed Fitzroy supporter with me, young Craig, who strolled past, who didn't really want to get on TV, but it's just interesting, Tim, having a chat with everybody out here, what they feel is going to happen and what they want to happen. This young fellow here, he tells me he's been supporting the Lions for, what, 23 years?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're trying to fight your way in here, Craig, but what do you really want to happen from a young person's point of view? I know there's a lot of old stalwarts around the club, but what about the youngsters? What do they want to happen?
Well, a lot of my friends go for Fitzroy, and it'd be quite disappointing to see them go down. Yeah, that's normally the feeling with all my friends. And
do you understand the fact that, if you keep trading at a loss, that somewhere along the line, the same as private enterprise, the bottom line is that, you are probably going to have to look at amalgamation?
Yes, I can understand that, but I don't care how much we lose money, mate.
Pride's a big thing.
Yeah, pride, I'm the royal boy through and through.
I think the bottom line, Tim, also is that there are three men also standing. I think the public might have been a little bit misled that Greg Bastow was going to stand against Dyson Hall-Lacey. 3 guys are actually standing for 2 positions on the board. I think you'll find that Dyson Hall-Lacey will be elected unopposed here tonight, and that Bastow will be standing, Greg will be standing against a gentleman by the name of Robert Johnson, who's from McDonald's. They're the 2 guys that are fighting for that other seat on the board. Andrew's in doing a little bit of legwork. I would envisage that this meeting should probably get underway within the next 15 minutes, and we'll probably come back to you throughout the night on 2 or 3 occasions with as much update as we can.
Rob, have you heard any pro-merger talk outside the hall, or is it all tending to be a bit like from your mate there? Yeah. Very, very much to try and save the Lions at all costs?
Look, the odd one or two are saying things, Tim, to the fact that, look, okay, there's a $6 million lure there. that's the bottom line. You can't keep rattling tins time in and time out. They've gone to the public and appealed so many times. And I think probably the middle bracket, the 35 probably to 50 age bracket, are saying things, look, that's the only option that's to us. You're getting the older age bracket that are turning around and saying, well, we'll support those, because at the same time, I don't think anyone's got a bad word against their president. They've tried their heart out. But the younger guy, our young Craig here, they've got a bit of pride about them around here.
How many do you reckon are there?
There was about 1,200 in there when I was in about 15 minutes ago, Tim, and there's, as you can see behind me, there's still another 200, 250, 300 locked out here. I shouldn't say locked out, but still trying to get in. Plus there's a good, strong media contingent as well, too. So I'd envisage that there's got to be about 1,800 people floating around here at the moment. They're on the streets, they're out here standing.
Righto, Rob, thanks for that. Thanks, Craig. And we'll hear from you again later on in the night, Rob.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Craig.
Thanks, Rob Gaylard at the Fitzroy Town Hall for the Lions annual general meeting. The 1995 AGM, Rowan.
Yeah, it's a little bit late in coming, isn't it? About, 15, 16 months. Yeah, the last annual general meeting was back in 1994 when they actually posted a profit. But as Rob said, I mean, the accumulated losses now have just been racking up for probably close to 15 years. I mean, really, we've had talk of Fitzroy in dire financial trouble as long ago as about 1979. So it's not a new episode, this. But look, I just wonder whether one of the problems with Fitzroy now, it's not Dyson or Lacey who's a problem, but the fact that he's seen to be such a one-man band. And it means that he's carrying an awful weight upon his shoulders. And there's really no one there in a public relations sense to help the club out when Dyson isn't able to do all the work, which he can't. And there's just no one out there selling the positives of Fitzroy or really giving the football public any sort of clear reason why they should be retained in their own right now. And I don't think you're going to see any sort of Footscray revival a la 1989. There just isn't the support there.